Hello everyone. Okay, so finally, with chapter 1 complete, I can finally mention the theory that I just kept saying, my theory, without really much explanation, which was that it was my suspicion the entire time since the start of the investigation, after finding out who died, Rentaro, that it was Shuichi who had committed the murder. That was what I had suspected the entire time, along with the majority of the community, at least. I mean, with a good portion of the community, I'm sure they suspected him too. Okay.
And I can attest to that as well. I sort of had the same suspicion myself, but I never really did, point it out or anything because I was just too focused on the case itself. And also, for those wondering, yes, this is recorded months and months and months after we finished Chapter 1, so,
But I kept my notes, so, I mean, everything, my theory will still make sense.
Yeah, and don't worry, I fully recovered from what the truth of Chapter 1 had to, go for me, and you all saw how that affected me, but I'm recovered from it, so, let's do this.
Alright. So let's start with, first off, I want to clarify something. At the beginning of in fact, I think it was the very first video, episode of Chapter 1, or the prologue even, I should have stated in subtitles that there's only, 95% in blind. But what I really meant that is there was just one spoiler, and, I just want to say that I didn't know anything about Chapter 1 whatsoever. I didn't even know what. If I didn't clarify, I'm not sure. It was just I knew someone who was gonna end up dead. That was the only spoiler that I knew about in this whole thing, and nothing about Chapter 1 was spoiled to me in advance, thankfully. So, with that out of the way, I want to point out that I didn't know anything. So, starting off with, towards the beginning, I made the joke that, can we make Shuichi the main protagonist?
After making him shut up, I retraced my steps again.
Bossy protagonist. Can we switch? Can we make him the main character? He's right there.
Maybe.
I think it'll work. I didn't want to. I just want to make sure to clarify that I didn't know that we were gonna be. I can say all this, right? Yeah. Because we are. I just want. I forget. I know where we are and where. Okay. Yeah. So I didn't know that we were gonna actually end up being Shuichi. I was expecting it to be like Danganronpa 2, where we had to be Nagito for a bit because he was cut off, we had to be him in order to do parts of the investigation. That was cool. That's what I thought. That's kind of where the joke was going from. Can we just be Shuichi now instead because of how Kaeda's personality was unexpectedly being? The only other time I made the joke, I know, was when they were going to the restroom and Shuichi went to check it out. I thought we were going to be him just to look around there, but I guess it would make more sense if we did that during the investigation.
Wait a minute, wait here. Alright.
You get to control him now?
With that, Shuichi opened the door and walked inside. Just a normal bathroom, nothing out of the ordinary. No one was inside.
Aww, we had to control him, even so simple as this. Different. So, and the other time was when we were looking at Shuichi's report card, we noticed that it said level 0.
Why did it say level 0?
Good question.
Does that mean the friendship level or what?
Maybe when you fill it up, it levels up. Or like in Danganronpa 2, for whatever ridiculous reason, we're gonna beat him.
But we don't see level here.
Yeah, good point. Okay, then I guess it's the other thing. I didn't honestly think about that too much at the time. I just, I know you paused for a good moment looking at that. I just assumed it was confirming what I thought. We were just gonna get to be Shuichi for a while, but maybe more often than I thought. Just let me switch back and forth here and there for I don't know what. Just I thought maybe we'd get to play two main characters at once, or not at once, but you guys get what I'm saying. Hopefully, and I'm not making this up. Despite how eager I might have sounded about wanting to control Shuichi, remember, I really did not know. This was not what I was expecting. I just meant that as a joke. I didn't know anything. And again, regarding the library having two doors, again, or not specifically that. Because there was two doors, I made my suspicion realize that there was that was obviously going to be a murder scene. ended up being the very first murder scene. Congrats, we got that right. It just seemed really obvious the way it was set up, knowing Danganronpa. So many ways to spread potential suspicions on multiple characters just because of how the class was set up, or the library was set up. But again, that was just a good guess that we got it. We were just able to interpret it from our experience in the previous Danganronpas. I know that it was that time where Suichi brought up there possibly being one of us or one of the characters working with the mastermind. I kind of like, it was only briefly, but I remember thinking, well, because of going off my theory thing, is Suichi potentially like actually being the one to work with them, or is he the mastermind himself? I don't know. We have yet, because with Danganronpa, they take a new level of anything goes. Would you agree with that? I mean, I think we've proven enough that Danganronpa, anything goes. Like, they have that rule is just immediately.
I lost a main character. What more do I need to lose?
And now for what started it. Like shortly after this, if I'm right, shortly after this scene, you know, we found the murder and then investigate. Well, I'll have the clip play now.
Yeah, don't worry. I know where the cameras and sensors are.
Infrared sensor right behind you.
I'll go get them. You can wait right here.
Yeah.
Oh, are you sure? After he said that, Shuichi walked to the back of the warehouse.
The sensor's right there.
I'm sure on PC it's a lot more better.
Yeah.
Maybe we just have to look at stuff. There's a wooden box. Are these iron balls? Look like they're for shot put. Picked one up to see if it was as heavy as it looked, and it was. The athletes who have to hurl these things are pretty impressive. Kaede, what are you doing? Oh, Shuichi, done already?
Okay.
Yeah, I've got the cameras. There's 3 should be enough.
Okay, the clip's over. Okay, so basically, what it is it was after this scene that it was just shortly after it, or whatever, that like I started actually really thinking about it a bit, because there was something I was curious about. It was the moment when when we were at the warehouse and the shot put ball. When that happened, when we went to the shot put ball and Suichi came back, here's what it was. I wasn't even thinking at the time, because this was before the investigation, before anyone was killed. The only thing I was concerned was, did going to the shot put basket specifically trigger Suichi coming back? Because if I remember correctly, we were there waiting for a good few minutes, wondering, oh, he's not coming back, maybe we should just look around. And that's what we did. The first thing we happened to pick was the shot put ball, so the only thing I was concerned was just, could we have picked anything in the room and then Suichi would have come back? Or did you have to pick the shot put ball specifically? That's something that really interested me. Not because I was thinking there's something suspicious here, there's a murder scene gonna happen. And it wasn't anything like that. I was just naturally curious about that at the time. I'm pretty sure I didn't say anything about that in the video. I'm not really like watching like the whole Danganronpa thing again while I'm doing this, but I did cut some parts out. Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of bugged me for a second, and then shortly after the investigation started, did I actually really start? That's where I formed, like many people. That's where I formed my theory. But it was, of course, I didn't assume Kaede. Well, the big reason I didn't assume Kaede was just because I was so used to, it's gonna be a main character involvement, you know. We got all these other previous games, there was no reason to assume that. I always just believed that as the main character with our perspective, there's no way we were going to, at the very least, to be more specific, I just knew we weren't gonna die. I mean, be killed by someone, that's what I mean, be a victim of a murder. That's what I was at least confident. I can't say that I really knew we weren't gonna be the one to commit something, if anything, accidentally, but it still surprised me. But the point being, this is when, obviously, this scene I was only suspicious of just because I was wondering what really triggers Suichi coming back.
And it just so happened to be the shot put ball.
And it's just so happened to be, the shop, if only we had actually, if we could experiment, I would really, probably if I was playing this game on my own, I really would have made a quick save, redone that, and then just be curious, and then I would have honestly been like, oh, okay, so there's some reason why that's involved.
Alright. And there's a small part of the community to where after the investigation began, that's when there were some people who quickly put together that Kaede was easily the murderer just because of how, like, well, what was the point of examining the shot football? What was the point of doing these sort of unnecessary actions like the books, like the books on the bookcase? What was the point in doing all that?
Well, you can't argue that. Well, I'll get to the bookcase. Actually, I don't think I think that's even mentioned. But for the bookcase, that honestly seemed legit. She really wanted to make sure that no one got through the vent. That was 100%. I didn't think it was pointless until I realized we were really just going to be in the classroom the whole time. So, unless someone literally just went in the vent and hid there until it was time. But like I said, the shot put ball, yeah, because I was curious, if we really had to go to the shot put ball, why did we have to? Like, if I knew that in advance, we just happened to do it, which was what stated my suspicion. The thing is, we could have went to anything. If we had played the game, because we were only doing, obviously, one run, there was no reason to repeat the warehouse scene. If we had gone to any of the other objects, I don't know, the RC helicopter, I think, was one option that we could click on. If we had clicked on anything and it would have worked, I would have questioned, did picking that specific thing call Shuichi back, or did it have to be, or could it have been anything, It just happened to be the shot put ball. Because I remember if we even said from left to right, that's what it seemed to make sense at the time. Now, I remember, in this next clip, I don't like that we got split up from Shuichi. So when I mentioned that, I was getting worried how we were being separated from Shuichi. And I mean, really, that I don't even remember if this was during the investigation. Is there a way to show if it is? But
this was when we went to go get the cameras from you.
Ah, okay. And yes, because these scenes.
That's when you said to meet him up at the Ultimate Lab.
Right. Yeah. So we were in the middle talking to other people still. Is all. Okay. Yeah. Because murder hasn't happened yet, but I can tell by those. Anyways, so yeah. Just knowing that we went separate from Shuichi is like, I don't even know why actually I thought of this. I really hadn't thought of my theory until the investigation started, and this was before it. All I know is I really just didn't want. No. This was it. I didn't want Shuichi to be killed. I didn't like that. That's what I was first concerned about, that because Shuichi was gone, he was going to be the first victim. I was worried that was going to happen, killing off a friendship in reverse of what actually happened. It would really cause a big effect, of course. That's the only thing I was worried about in that case. The fact that we were getting he was giving us the receiver, I mean, even I didn't like that just as much as you didn't. It raised, not suspicion, it raised worriness, like, I don't know, this is probably the only one thing, I can't remember exactly what I was thinking at the time, other than I just felt like this was going to ruin the actual setup, somehow. We were going to mess up if we had the receiver, and he didn't. Again, this was before the investigation, so obviously I couldn't think much of it. But going into the next one,
I dropped everything I was holding and ran after Shuichi.
The broom. It was when Kaede dropped her things down, and we were in the middle of finding out that someone was about to be killed, so of course I had to put it aside.
Yeah, when she said, I dropped everything that I had in my hands.
Yeah, when she said that, immediately I said, the broom? Because I was confused. Like, I just thought it was like, they're just, are they really just, they just, like, I thought it was just a common thing of that they just can't be simple and say the broom, they have to say things. I didn't think more of it, because again, the alarm went off. We're trying to find out who the heck's in the library and set off our thing. Like, I mean, I really only thought about it for like 5 seconds in total, and then I just whatevered it. But I can't believe if I had thought about it more, it would have. Well, honestly, I probably definitely wouldn't have guessed Kaede, just because of my bias thinking of not Shuichi, but the main character ain't gonna be involved in this. I would have just questioned, like, is there something wrong with the script, translation error? It would have just been around ideas like that. Wish I would have thought more about that though. That was unfortunate of me. So, shortly after the investigation started, I remember, this is what really started pushing my theory, and I was honestly worried from the start that my theory was actually right. So remember, this is just after the investigation when I had fully thought of to an extent, thought about my theory.
Shuichi climbed up the ladder and looked on top of the movie bookcase.
Well, I don't see it right now, so I guess...
Oh, there you go.
It's
It's still here. I should take it down now.
So,
Removing it is fine, but won't your receiver go off when you move it?
No.
No, it's alright. I turned the receiver off. Huh? You can turn it off?
Okay.
Yes. I made sure to switch it off on the way down here. Okay. I thought the mastermind could still be inside, but I didn't want to alert them.
I see.
I see. Smart thinking. Receiver on Shuichi, alright?
so yeah, the fact that Shuichi could turn the receiver off was the biggest, like, advantage to my theory. The fact that Shuichi could control whether the reverse, at least the receiver made noise. I mean, no matter, the sensors were still on the whole time. It just wouldn't have alerted. It would have still taken pictures. It would have still, yeah, like, pictures would have been taken. There wouldn't have been any alarm that anyone would have heard. So, I mean, that made me wonder, like, okay, so Shuichi could have legit just snuck in there, or, without it going off, and which was good because at this time we were aware that Shuichi had gone down to the basement to check, air quotes over that, on making sure no one went into the library. And that really also was what worried me. At the time of that, I was worried Shuichi was going to be killed and just not come back, and then the alarm was going to go off. But, yeah, you know, that didn't happen. And if I'm right, he did take the receiver with him when he went downstairs, I
Yes,
think.
he did.
Yeah, he did. Since we still had it on him, he went downstairs with the receiver, which means, again, we were just left in the room and there was no, aside from the music playing, there was no, of the music playing of the monitor, you know, saying, kill someone or you'll all die. But the fact that he took it with him, that was already, of course, additional suspicion about that he was going to kill someone, or he was going to be killed. So one of the two. But in this case of the receiver being the receiver can be turned off, it made me think he was actually trying to be the one to kill. Ugh. Only for a while did I think this was actually noteworthy, but I remember in this next clip.
Should we investigate this?
Yeah, that's the back door, right? Yeah, I think so.
Shuichi,
Oh, okay, this is the AV
Yeah,
room.
that's what I thought. But I wonder if that back room, based on the layout, has to connect to that one room that's locked in the hallway. You know?
Hey, Shuichi, the AV room is that room in the back, right?
Could it be?
Kaede, have you never been in there before?
yeah.
No, not yet.
You saying you have?
Anyway, let's go. Yeah, I know, it was locked the whole time.
And Shuichi was with us like 95% of the time. The fact that he merely made it seem like he had been in the AV room before, saying, "Have you never been in here, Kaede?" Like, it made me wonder why does it seem like he's been in the AV room before? When he's been with us majority, but not all the time. So, did he set something up in there? So should we know about that room? And then, well, I mean, that was already made me more suspicious, of course, as it is. And then, of course, remember, at this point, I'm just, because of how it's following along, at this point, I'm just really being biased towards Shuichi, where when it comes to the class trial, I was too blinded away from everyone else. I wanted it to not be Shuichi, but at the same time, I was like, it's definitely gotta be him with all these things that keep piling up. For instance, just him being in the photos of taking them off, the fact that he's in there, I'm like, I don't know why, like, even that bothered me. It shouldn't have, but it bothered me. It's like, we all saw him take the cameras down, even though it has a screenshot of him. I'm like, that's blocking something for some reason. Like, I was just too concerned about that. I was getting too paranoid now that it's Shuichi. Anything he's done is too suspicious. He took a footstep. That's suspicious right there. Okay, so at this point, the class trial has started. And one of the first things that's said is Monokuma saying,
Also, refusing to vote will result in your death.
"Whoa,
So
that's
you
new."
better vote for someone. Now let's get this crazy, awesome, crazy
Wait a minute,
awesome
why would he say
trial
that?
underway.
Refusing to vote.
That's a new rule.
Yeah, but does this mean we're gonna actually literally get to... Right off the bat, right there, did I realize someone important's dying. Why else do we need to suddenly vote now of all these games? That was, I don't think I said that out loud, or maybe I did.
You did, you
Okay,
really
yeah.
did.
I was just worried, yeah, someone important was dying. So again, that made me only confirm, yeah, bye Shuichi. Nah. Or, of course, for all you people thinking it was Kaede, that just only proved it more for you, but, oh god, that... like I said, I really hated walking into this. As the trial progressed, if you were to go back and listen to the trial now, you can understand why I actually was not catching on to it being Kaede. Even to the, we'll get to it in a bit, but even to the, even towards the end, Alex knew about it, and I was just waiting for, at the time I was just waiting for, oh, Alex is gonna pick Shuichi. I'm just gonna wait for it. But moving on.
Why, I wonder, didn't the culprit take advantage of the first blood perk?
So the idea of no one the killer not taking advantage of the first blood perk. I actually thought about this, I even said in the video, I thought about this ahead of time, and the only thing was that it was just, again, from previous Danganronpas, it made me realize that because if Shuichi had one of those multiple personalities, it was just that he had maybe wanted to actually have everyone killed, you know, maybe his true self wanted everyone to die, suffer, whatever, just because we've seen it in previous Danganronpas, people when they reveal a different personality of themselves. That's what I was thinking. So maybe he just wanted to... Maybe he was going to go crazy and then admit he wanted everyone to die, period. And then he gets free. Wahoo. That was the only thing I was worried about that sense. Then eventually, later on, we were brought up the realization that if you... just opening the doors would not take a screenshot, or a picture, it's the same thing. You actually have to go into the room. See, from there, I started thinking more and more about my theory, which in this case was... So that means if someone, in this case Shuichi, they could have just opened the door, see Rentaro, and then, boom, throw the shot put. You know, because as long as... Although, of course, if the shot put maybe would have been in this... I don't know if the shot put would have been enough to trigger the sensor, but that was just... That was mainly my theory right there, that Shuichi opened the door, and then threw the shot put, since opening the door wouldn't have been enough to take the screenshot. That was what I thought. But of course, at the same time, that was the only thing holding back my theory. I was so focused on the fact that the shot put ball was thrown.
Not dropped.
Not dropped, not rolled, not placed, nothing. It was just, Shuichi had to have it the whole time, which again backs up to the warehouse. I figured that because we went there, even though we were the ones who went up to it, Shuichi came up to it too, and then it's like, oh, nothing. We're putting our things away. I figured at that time, Shuichi maybe grabbed the shot put ball while we weren't looking, and that's when he, that's when he had it with him the whole time. I didn't think about concealment. I didn't think about all that. We didn't have really good visuals. Only, of course, Kaede was more perfect. I just didn't consider her. That's that.
Were you really together the whole time?
Huh? What do you mean?
I'm asking if you two were on lookout together the whole time.
So, Shuichi being... The one time, that Shuichi left was really the only time I could see him quickly being able to go into the library and kill Rentaro. It was my assumption before we really had... Even after talking with them, that I really believed immediately Rentaro went to the library just after the meeting, and then that's when Shuichi intercepted him... Well, not intercepted him, but met him in the library, and then wham, finished it off. Again, this is not really a perfect theory. It's just, these are my... If anything, it's more to say these are my thoughts the whole time, especially during the trial, to what I was thinking. Because Shuichi was left alone in the basement, or when he went to go after Rentaro, and then of course with the fact that the receiver doesn't go off, or not the receiver, the cameras, they take him in 30-second interval, and Shuichi knew about that. Again, of course, it raised suspicion, but the fact that just made me really think, perfect. That means he could actually have waited for, as soon as Rentaro goes in, 30 seconds. Go in himself, and then just at close quarters could have done that. But of course, the fact that all the cameras didn't even show Shuichi in there made me wonder that maybe Shuichi would have had to quickly gone in, somehow snuck behind him, because the audio was playing, the loud monitor music was playing. So Shuichi could have literally snuck behind Rentaro, following him, and I don't know, for some reason hid for a while, confirmed that maybe he was for whatever reason, just. The fact that he got snuck in the room, that's how he killed him, from close quarter behind. So he didn't even have to throw it that far, and there would have been probably more of a force on the Shoppa Ball. You can tell I'm thinking about this way too much, as if I'm still suspicious of Shuichi. But let's get into the part where I can't believe I didn't realize it was Kaede. Starting with what will pop up on screen is the fact that I literally shout out, "We set up the camera flash."
Because of the flash, right?
Wait, didn't we set up that camera? It was the fact that the flash went off, we talked about it, and then I say, didn't we set up the camera flash? And my stupid self didn't even think any more than that. It's like, that means it kind of should be us. I think, is that when you started?
That's, you know, I already, like, you know, had a suspicion that it was Kaede, but then when you pointed that out, I'm just like, oh my god, it's her.
Yeah, see, the thing is, Alex had a clear, more of a much more clear mindset than I did. But for me, I was just, well, I can't even understand why I ignored it. When I reviewed these to edit them, I'm like, at this point, it's clear it's Kaede. Not because we've done the event, not because we've done the playthrough ourselves, but because, I mean, if we set up the camera flash, if the only thing we have to do now is talk, someone needs to question us, why is the flash on? And I don't know if it's shortly after that, or if it's in the same video clip, but, oh no, okay, now I remember, this actually was what? Yes, we did set up the camera flash. I mean, we set up the camera, and I guess thus, that means we had to set up the flash. We even talked about turning it off in the, library. My theory is that the flash got turned on by Shuichi. Because the camera is just still, it's really taped down. That doesn't mean you can't mess with the settings. At least that's what I was thinking, my thinking was going. So, it was, yeah, we put up the camera down, that's what we know. We weren't visually watching Kaede, in our perspective, messing with the flash settings, but I mean, that's where my theory went. Like, it was my belief that Shuichi turned the flash on. And thus, pinning the blame on Kaede, thus backing up that other personality side that he had, just wanting everyone to die. That's putting 2 and 2 and 2 together. That's where my thought went. Okay, I was to say, because I know I really couldn't have just left that alone. Because I literally shouted that to myself. We set up the camera flash, but of course I thought we didn't. And then for
Do you know who the culprit is?
Okay, whew, something else is coming to mind.
Yep, I know. I've known for a long time.
Long time?
You sound like me, because I've had this
There was
theory and
only
all.
one person able to set the flash on the camera. Isn't that right, Shuichi?
Kaede, did you?
No.
Oh, okay, well, that just confirms what I was saying. I mean, technically there's 2. The thing wrong with this clip is there was 2 people that I thought if we set up the flash, you could already see it. This was literally just moments away before I think we had the intermission. It was hearing her say that was like, it's obvious that Shuichi set it up, since he was the overseer of this whole trap. He could have modified the camera maybe as Kaede was leaving, or even just some other time when we were away. That I actually think that it was on any other time. That's just that. Maybe he could have said it shortly after killing Ren. No, I don't know. See, this wasn't the perfect theory, but I just kept looking around Shuichi. Even now, I still thought, okay, it could still be Shuichi. It just makes sense. He modified the camera.
Then I scrolled over.
In a short time. And then you scrolled over, yeah. And then, I mean, him being quiet was the biggest buzzkill of them all. And then, the reason, we went to intermission from Shuichi being quiet. That was the second biggest thing that made me just, it's Shuichi, it's Shuichi, it's Shuichi, it's Shuichi, it's Shuichi, to the very end. And then...
The culprit of this incident is...
Well, at least you have 1 minute to choose someone. Have fun with that.
Is it?
As you heard what I said, you have... What is it, 1 minute? Yeah. You have 1 minute to choose someone. It's because I was like, well, go ahead and hurry up and press say on Shuichi. I can't believe it's him. And then, of course, see what I mean? Why didn't I see it? Because of my stupid blind thoughts on, like, it's like I'm trying to, not trying, but like a person who just will never rest until it's, I've finished accusing Shuichi. I'm just so paranoid that it's him. To the very end, that even at this moment of Alex over Kaede, I was just wondering, like, why is he picking I remember thinking this to myself, why is he picking Kaede? And then it wasn't until he confirmed it and that right screen popped up that I had to start. I don't remember if I said "oh" or anything out loud.
You were quiet for the rest of the thing.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I think I remember that. It was just because I was thinking back as to, like, let me just move some variables here and there. And it's like, oh yeah, thinking back to the start of the shot football, thinking back to all that made perfect sense. I know for some stupid reason I did not think back on the camera until it was brought up. I didn't think back on the broom thing. A lot of the things that happened during the investigation and beforehand, I didn't think back on. Class trial stuff, I did think back on, and most theories, like the shot football, of course, were thought of, but some small things weren't brought up for some reason. I was just too lost in why didn't I see it? Why didn't I see it?
Meanwhile, I wanted to die inside. Or I did die inside.
That whole time I was literally confused, collecting my thoughts, and then I think I didn't talk until I finally realized, where have I heard this before? Oh right, the community and their air quote rumors about a certain someone dying. They didn't specify when, how, if, or if it was true. Just it was just stated Kaede's gonna die. We feel Kaede's gonna die. Yeah, right. You ain't nothing feeling about that. You people knew about it. I'm under the impression that this rumor was spread because someone knew, told some people, and then that kind of spread it out as rumors, and thus that happened. Like, the fact that it was just stated annoyed me enough. And that's what really killed my mood for it. I mean, that's not to say this didn't. Of course that hurt, but I was just too angry right now at the community, like, as if I was literally, even though I had forgotten that was a thing. That's why. I'm glad I forgotten about it, but the fact that it was stated still is what I was mad at. I was mad as if I knew the whole time, but like, I probably shouldn't have been, but still. I didn't like that the community knew, whether they just knew it was a rumor. I just hated that. In the end, I really couldn't see it. I really would have not been able to survive this trial.
Meanwhile, I didn't even want to continue the Let's Play after this.
Oh, yeah.
The best freaking character dies off in the first trial, who is also the main character. That's just... like, what more do you need to take from me? Kaede is like the one character that like clicked with me so much compared to all the other characters and all the other protagonists from all the other games, and... to see her go in the first freaking trial was the most painful thing ever for me to experience. And I know some people are going to get mad at me for that whole thing because they're just like, oh, well, what about Chiaki? You know, what about her in DR2 or in DR3 in the Despair arc and whatnot? And I'll admit, yeah, Chiaki and her ending and what happened with her, yeah, I was destroyed by that. But, what makes, Kaede, more impactful for me is because I connected with her and I clicked with her and I related with her, like, to the max. Chiaki, she was just the nicest girl ever. Like, she was just, nice and just, like, so, optimistic and, insightful and all that. But the thing was, I can never relate to her on a real-world level. With Kaede, I could. And that's why I, was so distraught over this trial.
Well, okay. And in my case, I feel no matter what, even the worst thing that happened, I still feel Danganronpa 3, the anime, both arcs, were worse than this.
Oh, yeah.
No matter, feel-wise, this was the level of despair just keeps rising and rising and rising. This holds the most unexpected thing, though, of all, and original too, for the main character dying. Original in Danganronpa sense. But just, the most unexpected thing can go for this. That's to be, I guess, expected. But, oh man. That's pretty much my, theory. I cut out the clips that you probably saw throughout the video, just so you could understand points that I brought up. But the point of this is just, well, one, I felt like doing what I'm considering doing is having a talk every. I'm gonna try to have something to talk about after every chapter to discuss, and then yeah, and just share my thoughts on it. Because mainly it's Alex commentating and doing the voices. You do a wonderful job of that, by the way. Yeah, that was what I was thinking the entire time. I'm ashamed that I didn't take those clues that I pointed out to myself and then just pretended they didn't exist anymore or didn't think of them the right way. Like, could you believe that? 3 things. The shot put, the broom, the
camera flash.
Thank you, the camera flash. Those 3 things I pointed out to myself and him. Well, I don't think I brought the shot put ball, but still. And yet I just didn't bother to move suspicion. We're right there for me. It really could have just. No. If anything, I'm glad I didn't know. I'm glad I didn't know because I would have sit there I probably would have reflected back on the community thing, then knowing, and then I would have just hated myself throughout the entire trial.
Would you have hated, knowing the fact that I was eventually going to have to deal with it too?
Oh yeah, I would have been like trying to prepare myself, ready to help you, and just I honestly wouldn't know what to do.
Because I did, I had friends who had seen this trial before we went through it, and the only thing they said was, me specifically, you are going to be absolutely destroyed by the end of this trial. And I took that with a grain of salt, saying, it's Danganronpa feels. It's to be expected. I know I'm going to go through this. It's only chapter 1. It's not going to hurt me as much as it probably should. But it's still a little bit of feels in there. But this was something I did not.
Well, the thing on that is, Alex did tell me that people were saying that he was going to be destroyed throughout this trial. That actually, unfortunately, even put my theory even further. That made me feel like someone important, Shuichi, is going to die. That is really what I thought just hearing that. I kind of wish I didn't hear that though. That's why I don't know if we made it clear. Like that's why I don't want to hear anything from anyone. I don't want to hear that. In Chapter 3, they're going to have some special meeting in the cafeteria. I don't want to hear that we're going to meet so-and-so's lab. I don't want to hear that we get a new pencil off the ground and that's just used to write sketches now in this new game. I don't want to hear anything.
Why did Chapter 1 have to happen?
I don't want to hear anything because the way I think I'm going to use it for more theories. Now, okay, that's everything. That was my share of thoughts, and a little bit of Alex's commentary and some clarifications. This was mainly video again, which is mainly to just, one, my chapter discussion, and 2, so you can understand what the heck I was thinking about throughout the entire investigation, and class trial. Anything before the investigation was just coincidence. That is all. Any last words, Alex?
This will probably be put, again, when I do make the playlist, I'll put this at the end of the first chapter, after the trial and whatnot, and then, stay tuned for more of these, discussions, possibly, within the later chapters. By the time we are recording this, we are getting ready to, start, the beginning of, chapter 3, so, more than likely, sometime soon, whether it be, the next time we have an opportunity to record something like this, we'll do a discussion regarding things that we reflected on in Chapter 2. And then, who knows, maybe we will even do one when we finish Chapter 3. But given the time and all that, I really don't expect us to finish Chapter 3 too soon. But stay tuned for more discussion videos.
Bye! And thank you for watching. Excellent. Okay, so we're here.
As soon as you start, I'm getting a phone call.
Well, look at that. Look at that. Oh my god. I'm cutting this. Fine, whatever. We'll just wait until your phone call is done to start.
Oh, it's an automated system.
Gosh darn it. You make me.
It's a blooper. This is going the bloopers.
So what the... Your fault. Your fault. No more distraction.
Again, I hope so.
All right. We're here now this time. Let's talk about what my theory that I kept mentioning without really any explanation in this first chapter of Danganronpa, which is that the whole time I had, ever since the investigation started, and we recorded from there, I had suspected that Suichi was the killer, along with apparently what other people were the rest of the community were saying, right?
Yeah, that's what I heard, and don't worry, folks. This is recorded months and months and months in advance after the realization hit me about.
Oh my God! Now I'm getting a phone call. Are you kidding me? Hello. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't. These phone calls are annoying. This is 2 phone calls in a row. Yours was an automated machine. Mine was a random number. It's like, are people not letting me able to record this darn thing? Okay.
I heard the phone go off in the middle of my speech, and
I thought it was yours for a second, but like, wait, that's my ringtone. And then,
that and my headphones were plugged in, so you wouldn't hear that.